The 2025 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by SunBet, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice, VAG Automotive Centre Centurion, and EBC Brakes.
Hi guys, round 3 ZX10 Club.
It certainly is, young lady. Yep, indeed. The birds are flying. The crowds are here in their masses, as always, at Zwartkops. The Zwartkops Massive are here to celebrate another outing for the Extreme Festival of Motorsport at the home of Extreme Festival, courtesy and presented by Coca-Cola Beverages South Africa. We're here for ZX10 Masters Cup. Looks like the breakfasts are up and early. It's a bit chillier this morning. And the traditional prayer before everybody heads out onto circuit has been done. It's now time to get these ZX10Rs ready to go. And hopefully in prime racing condition. I got a question? Yes, sir. What's your question? Can you do a wheelie? I certainly can. It's probably a better wheelie than most of the riders on the grid can do, but that's awesome stuff. Well done. But as you can see, the future of the sport looks good with the amount of youngsters that are there. Looks like Nicole was just checking up on a few things and checking out the qualifying times that has just happened. Qualifying is a vital affair. Of course, it happens over 2 days here with ZX10 Masters Cup. They do Friday 3 sessions and Saturday 1 session. And with the cool conditions this morning, actually very cold conditions this morning, even the tongues were out hanging on the ground. That's how cold it was. A little bit of adjustments to a few of the parts of the machinery that are vital. Some tyre pressure checks there, I think, Mr. Cannon. That's not a bad idea. These Bridgestones are going to definitely need to have the right tyre pressures to get the best grip available out on the black stuff here at Zwartkops. A few changes there for a couple of the riders, including the Wakinyo racing machine, of course, of Sifiso Temba. Definitely looking for another opportunity to be at the front end of Class B, as he was at the previous round. And it looks like very similar situations happening on almost every part of the machinery and every part of the motorcycles that the guys are checking. It's mainly tyre-related issues and probably a couple of braking issues because this is a hard braking circuit. Of course, we've got 2 big braking points. In fact, there's 3 of them. One's at turn 2, one's at turn 5, and the other one is down at turn 8. And if you haven't got it all right, you're going to have to make sure that you got it right in time to go racing. One man who unfortunately had a little bit of an issue here today in qualifying was Byron Rothwell, and we managed to catch up with him quickly to find out exactly what went wrong and see what his plans are, because it doesn't look like he's going to be making it out onto the track at all today with a bit of an issue, and you have to wait until we get to East London Grand Prix circuit before we see the Magic bike back on track.
Byron Rothwell. So that was a bit of a disappointing end to the weekend, quite early on. First qualifying, your final qualifying session now on Saturday morning here for round 3, and a little bit of an issue with your beautiful machine.
Yeah, we've broken the motor again, and so we're just starting to feel good. But shall we go back to the drawing board again and get it fixed, and we'll be at the next round hopefully. And then, if I can just say thanks to my personal sponsors, Pool Warehouse and Alberti's, Alco Electrical and Mag Magic, and then our series sponsors SunBet, Bridgestone, EBC Brakes, and the Centurion. Yeah, thank you.
Well, there we go. Best of luck getting this beast back out. We hope to see you at the next round, which is of course round 4.
All good. Thank you.
Everybody else seems to be ready to go, and hopefully it's going to be in time for the vital race 1, which happens quite early on in the day. But fortunately, with conditions heating up a little bit here at Zwartkops, means that we've got almost ideal conditions to go racing in, because a cool ambient temperature is exactly what you want for the engines on these motorcycles. But a little bit of warmer ambient temperature helps to get the track temperature up. And with the track temperature going up, of course, helps those Bridgestone tyres to get the maximum traction that's required for these ZX10s to go around the circuit fast. Graham Van Bedal will be looking to try and hang on to the lead of Class B. Class C, of course, is in the hands of Brian Bontekun and fighting hard with Jason Lamb. So far, Jason Lamb has had the advantage there. But Class A has been dominated all race long, and of course the overall as well has been dominated by none other than Evil Knievel, Clint Seller. Bikes roll out onto the track right now for the first race and will come to take up their positions on the grid. And it's great to see a nice big field of 23 riders rolling out here at Zwartkops International World of Motoring. Yeah, Stevie, I think that's exactly what he did. Just a quick little check on those brakes to bed them in. Colvin Osvik didn't get the memo about the umbrellas. Mrs. Van Breda did, bringing the umbrella out there. Looks like Jason Lamb has also got an option. Oh, that's quite lucky. It's like he's got a slightly younger version of the Brolly contingent. And there's one of the sexiest ones out there with Keith Agliotti. Getting ready to go now for, of course, the warm-up lap. And as we roll them off the line and get them going for the first time today, it's going to be a very, very tightly fought fight in each of the classes. Probably going to see 2 or 3 riders at the front end as we look at qualifying, with Sella outgunning the rest of the field by a big margin. But Pierre Ficati, Van Breda and Jason Lamb are pretty evenly matched, along with Hein McMahon and Brian Bontekoning. Keith Agliotti looking to try and get up there at least to be in the top 3 for Class A. He'll be fighting with Van Dalen and Peter Delport, who had a great qualifying there in 9th place, just outgunning Byron Rothwell. Now Byron Rothwell is on the grid. Whether or not we see him on the track, we'll have to wait and see. Be pretty interesting to see what happens there. Further back in the pack, expect some big Class B battles. Henk Kruger makes a welcome return too. And look out for Ian Harwood at the back end there on the TRP and Bridgestone Kawasaki. Henny the Flag is waiting to greet the riders as they come to the line. We wait for those lights to go out and we go racing down towards turn 1. Every man for himself as they head down towards that first corner. It looks like Seller's got the whole shot, exactly what we expected to see from Clint Seller. The man on a mission at the moment to try and outgun everybody. He's not going to come from the back of the pack this time out. Decided that Zwartkops is possibly a little bit too dangerous to try that. There's not a lot of overtaking opportunities on a ZX10. And let's have a little replay here from Hein McMahon's point of view, heading down towards turn 1. See a little bit of an issue there for Damien Purificardi off the line. Didn't quite get the start he wanted. Sneaking through there is Brian Bontekoning just on the left-hand side. So great start there from Bonte as he gets on the brakes for turn 2 at Castrol. Hangs on, and around the outside goes McMahon. Eventually onto the back straight away. You can see it's a good move there. Purificardi eventually sneaking up and finding a way to the top 2. He'll be looking to try and pull away now from Graham Van Breda for second. The battle for the moment is about 5, 6 and 7th place on track. We've got McMahon, Bontekoning, Agliotti in there and Van Dalen. They head to the top of the hill for the first time. Seller pulling away. Purificardi in second. It is Van Breda who's third. And a nice start there from Graham Van Breda. We'll wait and see if he's able to go a little bit higher up there. Maybe give Purificardi a bit of a run. Here we go, slow-mo down into the final corner. If we're going to be pitching it onto the left-hand side. Big late outbraking coming from Slucky in the background there. Trying to find a way through there on Van Dalen, who just snuck ahead of him in that first lap or so. So there's a bit of work to do there for Hein McMahon. As we follow them through turn 8, they now come through and complete the first lap in anger. And it's everybody for himself. And they are fighting hard here for the ZX10 Masters Cup title. Seller wants it. He wants to go back-to-back championships. Ooh, running off there. Delport at turn 1. That's just completely decimated his great qualifying. And unfortunately drops him back to about 15th place on track. So a little bit of work now to do for Peter Delport to try and bring him back into contention for Class A. That's Bonte through turn 4. Lovely slow-mo shot of him heading up the hill towards the fastest part of the track for these motorcycles. They get to about 220 k's an hour as they get to the crest of that hill at the top near AMG. And then it's a right-hander banging it down all the way into second gear. Then it's a slight flick up, sometimes to third. Some of them hold it in second, depending on the gearing that they're running on their motorcycles here. And then some chopping and changing in the back there as well. Reggie Seal in a bit of a fight as well. Seal fighting hard there with Dieter Hazeman, the big man. And Dieter out there, of course, on the East Rand Bike and Boat and Adventure Extreme Kawasaki. It's very similar to the old Ducati Marlboro colors there. But Seal just ahead of him, also running very similar World Superbike style-esque Kawasaki colors on that 166 bike of his, the HX Consulting Services Kawasaki. King Price, NGK and Liqui Moly sponsored bike out front. The PS man is flying, and there's no one that's going to catch Clint Seller here this weekend on that Kawasaki of his. He is just the dominant factor, almost 2 seconds quicker than any other rider on circuit. Watching Agliotti come through there as well. Keith Agliotti's had a fantastic season riding for Ridgeway Race Bar and the BioClean SA. Also for EBC, of course, one of his main sponsors and one of our subsidiary sponsors here on the ZX10 Masters Cup. I am 63. Now, where is Sifiso? He's just outside of that top 10, so not quite into the single digits as he was down in PE, but certainly flying the flag high again and in with a possibility of at least a top 3 in Class B. And at this point in time, I think he's actually sitting in second place in Class B, so that's not a bad run there, even though he's not in the single digits. He'd like to be in the overall standings, of course, to be down in at least 1 to 9th place, as opposed to having those double digits on the final saying of the day. Speaking of the final saying, it's not done yet for third place. That's your leader, and that's the gap that Clint Sellers pulled over Damien Purificati for second. And he's just dominating this field. And then there's a big fight on here for third overall. Van Breda leads it out at the moment with Jason Lamb tucked in behind him. And I was going to say, Purificati getting away ever so slightly, but if he's not too careful, those four motorcycles are about to join him. Further back in the pack, it looks like Purificati's arch rival in terms of the good-looking bikes out there is just getting ahead of Reggie Seal. So Dieter Hazeman and Seal chopping and changing all the time. They flick through the left-hander, down the hill they go. First couple of laps, you've got to be very, very careful through that left-hander because it's the first time that you go through on cold tyres in a left-hand corner. And then the second time is down here into turn 8. So if you don't get it right, sometimes it can flick the motorcycle a little bit sideways. And that's exactly what you do not want to happen at the beginning of the race. Right now, those Bridgestones are in perfect condition and are working well. But there seems to be a little issue there on Van Breda's bike. Dropping back slightly in that pack he was in. He was at the lead of the pack for a while as we watched Purificati through turn 4. But he's now dropped to the back of this pack, and it looks like a little bit of issue there for the Stefanuti Stocks and Motul sponsored bike. I wonder what's gone wrong there with him. He hasn't quite got the tyre temperatures and pressures right to get the maximum traction out of those Bridgestones. Looks like everything's working fine. Look at those tyres, they're perfect. Those Bridgestones are dialed in for this track, but they just don't seem to have the answer to Jason Lamb or to Slucky. And then right on Slucky's tail, what a ride here coming out of Van Dalen. Another lap completed, and it's Jason Lamb looking for possibly third overall at this point in time, but the lead and the win for Class C is what he wants. Agliati still coming through there. He currently sits at about 4th in Class A, coming out of Castrol. It's a nice shot there of that clean.co.za and Ridgeway race bar machine, the bar clean bike, having a fantastic run. Time Art East London, man at the front end of this battle. He'll be looking forward to getting to his home circuit for the next round. But he's got 2 races to deal with today, and he's got his hands full at this point in time because he's got Hein McMahon all over the back of him, hounding him big time on that K9 law enforcement and cargo pack Kawasaki. Behind them is Vandalen, the Bag Automotive machine, doing a fantastic job there on the 469 bike, staying upright this time as well. Important that he has a good outing here at Zwartkops. Adrian Vandalen has had fantastic runs, and every single time he's kind of had a bit of an up and down though on a few occasions. So we'll wait and see. It was a fantastic run, as I said here, and working hard at the front end of this field. And then we go to the back, and it's just a hard fight at the back as it is in the front, because now all of a sudden Dieter Hazeman has been joined by Jacques Cruz, and into the picture comes Tyre Piper, who had a great outing, of course, down in P. We saw him on a few occasions. It was a fantastic run, as I said here, and working hard at the front end of this field. And then we go to the back, and it's just a hard fight at the back as it is in the front, because now all of a sudden Dieter Hazeman has been joined by Jacques Cruz, and into the picture comes Tyre Piper, who had a great outing, of course, down in P. We saw him on a few occasions, a little bit off track on sometimes as well. He's got Barrington with him, and he's got Renatus Vanikirk in that pack as well, along with Dieter Hazeman. They're all fighting hard and just trying to spoil each other's days. It's kind of what we expect to see. Little packs that have opened up, and those gaps that have opened up with riders just up the road. I think Reggie Seals, the rider, has got away from these guys at this point. There's a late dive, I think, from Jacques. Yeah, Jacques Cruz looking for a chance to go on the inside. Piper's closed the gap, and on his tail is Renatus. So it's a 6-way fight there, fighting for honours down in what would be 14th to 20th place. So not a bad effort here from the back end of the field. They will have to be very wary though, because they could possibly be caught by Clincella with the timing that he's currently lapping at. He's just on the 103s and 102, high 102s at this point in time. So they'll have to be very wary that the lead bike doesn't catch them by the time we get to the checkered flag at the end of this first heat. Heading through turn 4, Hazeman now in the middle of that pack, looking for a chance to come back at Joao, and the fight continues. It's a fantastic little battle. He's got through there. Tyre Piper's late on the brakes as well, coming up on the outside. Might find it a bit more difficult on that outside line. It's a bit dirtier out there for Piper's Kawasaki. Tyre Piper, of course, riding for the Pump Elec CC machine Kawasaki. Now it seems like there's going to be a bit of a gap opening up. I thought they would stay a little bit closer together, but they're losing a bit of ground here. And it seems to be opening up to almost equidistant there amongst these riders, other than the 3 at the back who are still fighting hard. Oh, rider down, that's Tyre. Just pushing that front end a little bit too hard down into turn 2, and Piper goes down. There's only a couple of laps to go, So there's a good possibility they'll keep that under double yellows. This is Piper's point of view as he comes across the line. You can see just looking for a chance now to stay in the hunt for this little pack of riders. He's going to push hard down towards turn 2. You'll see him come around the outside and look for a way through. And he's gone through 2 riders, in fact, and unfortunately that's just too much. The motorcycle and the front tire just said, no, I can't take that kind of traction on these kind of conditions. So just losing out there was Tyre and Piper, going down again, and that's a pity there for him because he was going so well. Hope he has a chance to come back and at least sort out in race number 2. See him walking away, that's the most important factor. And of course our Kyle Army and Zwartkops Marshals combined now at Zwartkops International World of Motoring. They're a big team of Orange Army that do such an amazing job at all the tracks we go racing at. And of course they'll be called into duty later on when ZX10s go to the Festival of Motoring later on this season as part of the celebrations there. And the only category racing that weekend, in fact, in terms of 2-wheelers at Festival of Motoring. So we'll see them in action once again, but we always have to say a massive thanks to the Orange Army and of course to our medical team and race control for the incredible job they do to allow us to come racing here at the Extreme Festival of Motorsport. It's Sella heading into the final stages with a massive margin over Damien Purificati. I don't think Purificati is going to have any chance of catching Sella. The battle still for 3rd continues, but it's now Renatus, in fact, sorry, that's Adrian van Dalen, who's snuck up there just behind the Tyre Mart East London Kawasaki of Jason Lamb. So a little chopping and changing there has changed things up pretty dramatically. That is a spectacular run coming out of Adrian van Dalen. So we'll have to wait and see if he gets to the end and finishes up exactly where he is right now. But at this point in time, we still have Jason Lamb pushing hard and looking for a chance to at least be the front end of Class C. And that's exactly what he's attempting to do. But Van Dalen is going to look for a top 4 finish in Class A. It'll be one of his highest finishes we've seen out of him. Sella heading through the back markers, going through past Golgocci there at the back end of the pack. And now heading down towards the checkered flag to take it for the first race of the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup here at Zwartkops. Fantastic effort there from him. No, in fact, he's got 1 to go. So 1 more lap to go there for Sella as he comes across the line. It's a final lap, and it's kind of a swan song lap here because there's not anybody even close to him. He has a massive margin up the road. He's got down to 102.6s as his fastest lap of the outing, but of course 103.7s was the best that Purificati could get. So he's 1.1 seconds ahead of any other motorcycle out there, and doing a superb job for his sponsors: King Price, NGK Spark Plugs, Liqui Moly, Super Signs, Shark Helmets, and of course he's there with Race SA, and of course the PS team that are behind his squad too. So a massive effort being put in. Steve Cannon's going to be happy with the performance of the bike that he's prepped, and it takes the victory in the end ahead of Damien Purificati, who will come through a long way back behind for 2nd place overall and 2nd in Class A for Purificati on that Amalgam welding shop and Anderlof Racing Kawasaki. Jason Lamb comes through for 3rd. He hangs on to keep out the battle there with Hein McMahon, who eventually came back into the 4th spot. So McMahon will take 3rd in Class A, 4th overall, with Lamb in 3rd overall and 1st in Class C. And then behind that, you see them coming through there with Van Dalen, Van Bredar, Bontekoning, a good ride there from Keith Agliotti, and eventually, look at that, Savisa Temba did get up into the single digits, up into 9th place. So a couple of good laps there in the closing stages there for the IM63 man. But I am number 1, and that's the number 1 plate, staying very much in touch with a chance of back-to-back titles here, and looks like it's going to be unbeaten back-to-back titles for Clint Sella. That'll be the first time anybody's done that. We have seen people take, of course, victories all the way through and win every single race in this championship in the past. Stuart McLeod was 1. Gavin Lightfoot was another. Clint Sella has been 1. Can he do it again here in 2025? Let's catch up with a few of the riders now down in the park from 8 and see how their races went. In fact, before we do that, let's get our official results first up on the screen and have a look at how things panned out here for race 1 of the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup. There's a happy man walking away, Clint Sella with the win. There you can see Purificati in 2nd, Lamb in 3rd, and Jason Lamb winning Class C. It's 3rd place for Hein McMahon, down in 4th overall. Class B went to Graham Van Bredar. It's a long way down to Safiso Temba, who gets 2nd in Class B. A good effort there from him, and 9th overall on track for him. 2nd in Class C's was Brian Bontekoning, and 3rd was Johan Leroux, down in 10th place overall on track. So a great outing for them so far, and of course looking forward to seeing what they do now in race number 2. Class B's 3rd place went to Henk Kruger. Great return there for him. Dieter Hazeman in 4th, and then Renatus Vanica just beating out Jacques Cruz for the 4th place in Class C. Tyre and Piper, as we saw, going down. Brian Rothwell not making it back out again. And we look forward to seeing Daryl Barrington back in the mix a bit later on if he can get his bike sorted out. Let's go and catch up with some of our top riders. Hey!
Tyre and Papa, Tippy, on the beautiful ZX10. Not so beautiful anymore. A little bit of an eventful race one there after a difficult Friday for you. Everything was looking much better there in the race. A good start. And then you were mixing it up with the Oaks, going around the outside, and then tell us what happened.
Yeah, so I got a little bit overzealous. I tried being naughty about 2 or 3 times. The second time it worked. The third time, unfortunately, I tucked the front end.
Oh, there we go. But no, you're all right. No damage to you.
Yeah, I'm good. The bike's got a little bit of superficial damage. My team boss over here, Dean Ferreira, is sorting it out, and we'll be ready for race 2.
There we go. So the expensive exhaust saved pretty much damage from the rest of the bike.
Yeah, well, it's a small consolation prize.
There we go. They say if you're going to do it properly.
And if you're going to do it in turn 2.
Yeah, in turn 2. Exactly. Yeah, it's Zwartkops. So best of luck for the second race. Hopefully you have a better run, and we'll catch up with you later.
Awesome. Thank you, sure.
The 2025 SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by SunBet, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice, VAG Automotive Centre Centurion, and EBC Brakes.